This video is sponsored by NordVPN. When the lights go down in the depths of the Odessa Catacombs, they stay out. For the last 200 years, a series of twisting tunnels has meandered under a city marred by war, famine, and empire. Mysterious disappearances are somewhat regular, but none is more infamous and terrifying than the vanishing of a woman known only as Masha. With her friends in tow, she descended down into the catacombs New Year's Eve 2005. But while her companions re-emerged into 2006, unscathed from the land of twisting tunnels and total darkness, she did not. While the rest of us were sitting around our TVs waiting for the ball to drop in Times Square, counting down the seconds to the new year, Masha stumbled around in the dark, desperate for an exit that she would never live to see. Does her body still lie dormant, slowly decaying over the last 15 years, buried under a bed of stone? Or can we count her among the bodies dredged out of that labyrinthine maze just below our feet? Today's episode concerns spaces that are dangerous, and most often illegal to access. We ask you not to go to any of the places mentioned in this story, unless accompanied by professional guides at official entrances. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. You might remember the catacombs below Paris from one of our previous videos. But did you know that there is a set of deeper and wider network of passageways in Ukraine? The Odessa Catacombs, with over 2,500 kilometers or 1,500 miles of tunnels, takes the cake. If you laid out all of the tunnels end to end, they would be longer than the entire Pacific coast of the United States.
I would not want to be lost in there.
Yeah, but imagine if you were purposely sealed in there.
I'd flip out. I would totally lose it.
You and me both, Quiz. But some people don't have to imagine, as the catacombs have been used periodically since their construction in the 17th and 18th century to hide anyone, from criminals, political dissidents, to party animals. No matter who you are, the catacombs below Odessa can offer you a discreet space to lay your head.
Forever.
Stop!
The city of Odessa was founded at the end of the 18th century, when Russian Empress Catherine the Great ordered a fort and naval base built on a Black Sea settlement just ceded to the Russian Empire by Poland. It was named Odessa after the ancient Greek colony of Odessos, thought to have existed nearby. The city grew quickly over the course of the 19th century and soon became the second most important port in all of the Russian Empire, just behind St. Petersburg, which has been widely considered the cultural capital of Russia. The catacombs were dug out as a result of this rapid growth.
Where else are you gonna find thousands of tons of rock to build a city?
Exactly. I must say, though, that the tunnels under Odessa aren't technically catacombs. Catacombs are underground spaces used to store bodies, usually in a religious context. The spaces under Odessa are just quarries, but everyone in the city calls them catacombs, so I'll let it slide this time. A sedimentary rock called Kakina was dredged up to construct the majority of Odessa's buildings, particularly its palaces. If you were a rich Russian aristocrat, or any rich aristocrat for that matter, the best way to build a palace was to set up a quarry, and then dig up as much stone as possible. As Odessa's identity as a major port solidified, the city experienced a financial boom, and many people across the city were itching for extravagant mansions and palaces. The only problem was that the quarry industry went a long time entirely unregulated, meaning that anyone with a pickaxe could dig pretty much anywhere they wanted. Not to mention that Kakina is a relatively soft sedimentary rock. No one was keeping track of where people were digging, which is the most likely reason that the catacombs below the city are so difficult to navigate today. Odessa was also one of the major battlegrounds of the Russian Revolution, and the catacombs below the city were even the base of operations for Soviet partisan forces for over 13 months after the city fell to German forces in 1941. As the Soviet army retreated, they left dozens of rebel cells in the tunnels, ordering them to sabotage the enemy's supply lines whenever possible. In response, the Romanian German forces defending the city went to as many entrances to the underground as they could find and filled them with either concrete or poison gas.
Okay, that's like some Watership Down style horror there.
Unfortunately, knowing that history might explain how these places act like magnets for the supernatural.
Just like how your personal data is a magnet for bad actors. Like what a state-of-the-art self-aware masterpiece of coffee brewing machinery dreams of. That's why I use NordVPN. Its double data encryption keeps my information secure, and its cybersec suite doubles as an ad blocker, so I get to browse without any annoying ads yelling at me from the corner of a window. Plus, with 24-hour, 7 days a week customer service. If anything goes wrong, I can get support within only a few process cycles. And of course, with over 5,300 servers in 59 countries, I can watch content from anywhere I want. Save on your security with a staggering 73% discount and an added gift of 4 free months at nordvpn.com/brew or by signing up with our discount code BREW and enjoy a 30-day money-back guarantee. Do it now.
Did we go to the Digiverse there for a second? I thought I saw my best friend Gabumon.
Let's not think about it too hard.
Don't worry, Gabumon. I'll be back.
Descending into an underground maze that used to be filled with literal poison gas sounds like a terrible idea.
The authorities would likely agree with you, Quiz. The Odessa Catacombs are infamous for their hand in many disappearances. But the disappearance of a young woman known only as Masha was the first to gain worldwide popularity. According to a post on the Urban Explorer's resource by Eugene Latta in 2009, Masha and a large group of her friends descended into the catacombs on New Year's Eve 2005. No one knows why they went down there. They could have simply been partying, or they might have been searching for mass graves used by various governments over the centuries. Or maybe they were searching for the mythical solid gold replica of the Titanic, thought to have been left in the catacombs.
Hey, what now? Did you say solid gold?
It's all rumor, of course, but the story goes that a wealthy aristocrat survived the Titanic, returned to his native Ukraine, and wanted to make a gift for the sailors who pulled him from the icy waters that night. All didn't go according to plan. As revolution shook Ukraine and the rest of Eastern Europe, he needed a place to hide the gift. A solid gold replica of the ship that nearly killed him. The legend says that this aristocrat hid it deep in the catacombs in order to keep it safe until he could come back to retrieve it. But the best laid plans of mice and men often go wrong, and he was summarily executed by his government before he could return for his treasure.
Ah, treasure!
Whether the replica is real or not, we cannot say. But all we know of Masha is that she entered the underground to never return.
Imagine her last moments as she makes that wrong turn. She's too far in, and the light is fading. Her friends can't hear her cries for help.
Please.
The Odessa Catacombs don't have insulation against the cold. At the time of Masha's alleged disappearance, the temperature in the caves would remain similar to that on the surface. And in the dead of winter, if she was lucky, she would have fallen asleep and drifted quietly into a frozen death. If she was unlucky, her flashlight battery would die within a few hours, and she'd be left in pitch blackness with no food or water to sustain her. Within 2 days, she would start to suffer the effects of dehydration and slip into a coma by the 3rd day. The end of her life would have been an inexorable descent into delirium, then silence. Latta, the original poster, submitted another photo in 2009 claiming to be of Masha's decomposing body. The image includes 3 teenagers staring at what can only be identified as what used to be a human. The body seems to be curled over in a sleeping position, which is what drew people to conclude that this was indeed Masha. Latta claimed that no one went to retrieve the body. A friend he claimed was a famous journalist personally delivered information to the authorities, and within 24 hours, the body was removed. Ukrainian ATO operative Kostya Pugovkin came forward identifying himself as the person who lugged the body out of the depths, though his story contradicts Latta's. Pugovkin alleges that another body belonging to Yanis Stenzenieks, the son of a newspaper magnate, was left down in the catacombs, and that the elder Stenzenieks offered a reward for the return of his son's body. And after the tip from Latta, he descended into the tunnels. Pugovkin says that he had to wade through bone soup to find the body. When he did, he wrapped it in a bedsheet and dragged it back. He goes on to say that it was hard to get to the top of the shaft, It was like 9 floors, tiers with skinny ladders between them. When he finally reached the top of the catacombs, he delivered the body to the medical examiner to run a DNA test to prove whether it was Stenzeniak's. The test came back negative. Diggers who still quarry the coquina to this day and know the underground best said that they determined it was a Satanist who got lost, but to complicate matters, claim the body belonged to a girl. That being said, the DNA test did not determine sex, only that it was not Yana Stenzeniak's. However, locals say that the story of Masha is a hoax, and this body is not Masha's, but of a homeless man who went down into the catacombs with a group of other homeless folks. Reddit user Terelka says that his body was first discovered by the teenagers who made the photos, so the case gained some public attention. There are limited details, but it's suggested that a group descended into the catacombs for warmth in the winter, and a fight broke out after an argument. It grew increasingly violent and ended after a man was stabbed several times. Police were never able to convict anyone though, since testimony remained contradictory and hazy.
Wait. So they thought the body was Masha's, but then the guy who went to go get that body thought it was some other man's, and then they thought it was Masha again, but then it turns out it was just another man?
It's a confusing mess. We'll likely never know the full truth. Vice collaborator Mike Pearl writes that according to the Odessa Catacombs website, the entire story is a hoax. A post on the website says that besides the original photographer, there isn't one person, civilian or law enforcement, that can confirm the story. We believe it is just a practical joke and the corpse is fake. That being said, Lata claims that he cannot retrace the origin of the photograph, and there were 3 other people with him, who he's lost touch with. He also claims that the person who runs the Catacombs website, the one calling him a liar, was one of the most experienced Odessa Catacombs explorers and his best friend.
Drama!
Yeah, get spill on this one. Now, whether the body was Masha's, Stenzeniak's, a rumored Satanist's, or an unfortunate member of Odessa's homeless community, we might never know. There's a lot of information with little to no way to confirm it. Not to mention a lot of these claims are contradictory.
One way or another, someone died in there.
And that's a whole different mystery to solve. Sometimes it feels like there's no more adventure left in the world. There's that quote, "We are the middle children of history, born too late to explore Earth, born too early to explore space." But I think that's defeatist. Just because there are no more tectonic plates to discover floating around on this little blue marble doesn't mean that we drew the historical short straw. Adventure, like a mystery, isn't so much about being on top of the mountain or knowing the answer. It's the trials and tribulations that you go through to get there. The questions you ask to find that answer.
Where's Wally books would be super boring if they just circled where he is.
Waldo.
Wally.